Okay, viewers, you're looking at a
no
cake,
point.
but that's not important right now. What is important is this person. Izabella, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic, not bad. You're talking to me, and you also talk to Georgia. How are you doing?
Hello, how are you guys?
Awesome. The reason why we're here today is to talk about your incredible career. Tell us more about what you used to do and why it's important to you.
I used to work with a very similar station to Babe Station with Sky, but my channel was called Expanded TV, and I was one of the online TV girls that you could phone up and chat dirty to. So that's what I used to do.
Wow, so many questions have already been asked to you off camera. My main one is, how did you find yourself in that role?
I was travelling from Madrid to Barcelona on a train, and I spotted another English girl who was a bit older than me across. You know, when you hear an English accent abroad, you relate it to home, and you're like, you want to talk to them because like you've not heard anyone English for so long. Started talking, and I was like, so what are you doing out here? She's like, oh, just travelling for a few months. And I was like, well, are you working back home then? She's like, I'm self-employed. And I was like, how is someone so young self-employed? And she was like, well, I'm a Babe Station girl. And I was just like, ding, my eyes lit up, and I was like, this is crazy, like tell me more about it. So me and her got chatting for ages because the train from like there to there is about 3 hours long. By the end of the conversation, we'd swapped numbers. She'd given me Ken, who was the manager of the place that I was at. And I managed to get onto the show. When I came back, I had an interview, and the interview was, I didn't realise this, the interview was actually being put on screen straight away. Like, I thought the interview was going to be a face-to-face, like, what are you comfortable with, what don't you want to do? Instead, it was just like, strip off then, get on the bed, and I'm just like, what? No, I wasn't ready for that, but he was like, if you can't do it now and then, how are you going to do it on the point when you have to do it? So I was like, he's got a point. Okay, spent my first 2 days with basically my bum to the camera so that no one could see my face, because I was like, I don't want anyone to notice me at first. And then he was like, come on, you got to grow up if you want to do this. And I was like, okay, yeah, fine. Finally got in the swing of it, and when I did, I've had the best 5 months of my life with those people. It was an absolute eye-opener.
Wow. Do you think that it's changed you in any way as a person?
I think it's fully shaped my opinion on sexuality and sexual intercourse and all those things. I think it's also showed me just how animalistic humans are. Like, I know everyone enjoys sex and everyone wants it, but I didn't realise just how fully natural it is. I don't know, in school it was always sort of like this, with only the person you love and be safe and be cautious. They made it sound almost so scary, but being on the bed in front of everyone and talking to like roughly about 300 different people a night, making their night better, you quickly then realise that it's just normal. It's just needed. It's just there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to clarify that Georgia is not somebody who's worked in this industry, but wants to ask questions as well. Do you have any questions at the moment before I keep on going with the millions that I have?
I suppose my main question is, how did it affect your personal life?
Well, really, it didn't affect it too much, except for when my parents found out, which was a whole crazy thing of them hacking my phone and getting half of the conversation, and then thinking that I was an escort originally because they would only hear me talking about the people that I was talking to, didn't realise it was on the phone, so it affected me and my parents' relationship, but then once they understood, they were accepting. I did lose a few friends over it, but they were not too keen on it. They didn't really understand why I wanted to do it. They weren't a fan of it. They thought I was like selling myself. They just had sort of very negative thoughts about it. The only other thing it hasn't affected, but the only other reason why it sort of came into play was I met my boyfriend whilst I was still doing it. And that was kind of weird because
that would be weird.
Because the more I was like falling in love with him, the more I was like starting to hate my work. Not hate it, but be a little bit like, I don't want to do this now.
Feel weird about it.
Yeah, exactly. Feel uncomfortable. I was like, I was like, shit, I like him now. This is so deep because what am I going to do for work if I really like you? Oh, why did I have to like you? But at the same time, it's all in good. It's all in good course. All in good hands.
Cool. Sorry, do you have another
I was just
question?
going to say, so how did you tell him straight away?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was his reaction?
So we met on Tinder. Is how we actually met. We met on Tinder, as you do in like 2015.
How we all do. Yeah.
Yep. And I was around his house and we were just talking about things. I was like, so what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a sound technician, get to go to all the festivals. And I was like, that's so cool. And he was like, what about you? And I was like, well, I'm a Babe Station girl. And he was just like, what? No. Like, he was like, what? Really? Like, he couldn't quite wrap his head around it. And then I gave him the number of my channel and my hotline number. And I was like, you can watch me if you want. Like, check me out. I'm on tomorrow night. And he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I'm damn serious. Like, why not? You can see what I actually do. And he was like, that's really weird and really cool. Okay then. So he had to go to his friend's house because he's in a flat share and doesn't have a TV in his room. And went round his friend's house and watched it with his friends. I didn't know he was going to watch it with his friends.
With his friends?
Yeah, I know. I didn't know he was going to...
What? With his friend?
I didn't know he was going to...
That's just strange.
I didn't know he was going to do
I wasn't
that.
prepared for this information.
Luckily, me and him hadn't done anything at that point. We were just like, we were friends. And then he watched it, and then I remember we met up like the weekend afterwards, and he was like, I saw you on TV. And I was like, I'm sure you did. And I was like, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, it's really cool. Like, I don't know, he seemed so awkward. Like, I didn't know if he knew what to say. I felt like it was kind of funny because we'd not done anything, but he'd seen me do that, and I don't know, he was kind of awkward about it, but he was also like kind of funny about it at the same time.
Did he make any kind of like suggestion that it was either like him or the show, or did you naturally come to the conclusion with like, look, I need just to be with him? Because that's what I've been thinking.
Ooh,
like,
do you know what? I guess there were moments where I could tell that he wasn't a fan of it. Like, he would hint at it. The closer we got, the more he would be like, oh, can't you cancel work today? You're self-employed, like, you don't have to go in. And I'd be like, but if I don't, I've just stolen a girl's slot on the bed. Like, it's not too fair. And he'd be like, oh, come on, let's get on it, let's go get some drinks, don't go to work. And I'd be like, no, man, I can't do that. And then slowly he'd be more persuasive, and then I'd be like, all right, okay. And I used to cancel days here and there. And the more time we'd spend together, the more I realised, oh my God, I really like you. Yeah. And then it was like a natural decision that I didn't want to do it anymore.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Before we go, because I've got to eat this cake, man. Before we go, would you give any recommendations to people who want to get into this business? Like, what were the pros and cons?
Okay, so the pros are, it's like a big sisterhood. Like, the dressing room is filled with nothing but love. It's a mix of generations. You've got oldie goldies up there who are like 50 plus. You've got students paying off debts and loans. You've got mums who are doing it for their kids, and then you've got like just whatever, just doing it for the sake of doing it because it's good fun as well. And you all become very close, and you take good care of each other. You love each other. You become, because you're doing something so open with them straight away, you instantly become so connected with them as well. You're naked on a bed with them. Like, you go to the dressing room, oh, this is the best bit as well, because the language on TV is so vile. The swear words are horrific. You go back into the dressing room and you can't drop it. So you're all swearing at each other still with like love. You're like, yeah, fuck you. You're all like that. And then you've got like the producers coming out, like, ladies, you're off TV now. Come on, you're going back into the real world. No more swearing. It's good fun. Like, it's really, really good fun. The money is great. You get some creepy ass callers. That's the only thing. Some of them you're just like, lick between my toes. They'll tell you things like this. They're like, if I spread peanut butter on my ass crack, and you're just like,
how do you feel about that, Georgia?
Less said, the better.
And you just want to hold the phone away from your ear, and you're just like, but you just got to play along with it. Okay. Obviously, there are some things that they won't let you talk about. Also, you're not completely stripped naked, so you don't have to worry about bearing everything. You know, you start off the night with your entire underwear set on, and by the end of it, the only thing you've removed is your bra.
Oh, okay.
So there are regulations and everything. It's all, it's all legal as well. You get to be counted as self-employed, so this is a big pro. Anything that you spend on hair, nails, makeup, massage, anything to do with yourself, you get to retain back to the tax. So
wow.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good fun that way.
That's awesome. Do you have any more questions, Georgia?
No, I'm good.
Yeah?
Are you good, John?
I actually have more questions, but you know what we'll do? Because I know you have a business idea.
Yes.
If you're keen to talk about that on camera, we'll save that for part 2.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we'll do a 3-parter, because right now, it's about the cake. But bye for now, viewers.